Wellness Rhythm Show. Find your rhythm. Live your wellness.
Here's a question, y'all. When was the last time you woke up and thought, wow, I actually feel rested? Not just I got my 7 hours, actually genuinely restored.
That's the distinction that gets me, honestly, because we've collectively decided that hours are the metric. 8 hours equals good sleep, job done. And the research says that's only partially true.
Right, because I have had plenty of 8-hour nights where I wake up feeling like I've been dragged through a hedge.
And conversely, some people feel genuinely well rested on 6.5. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine tracks this. Duration matters, but it's only one variable in a much more complicated equation.
So today we're pulling that equation apart. What actually makes sleep restorative beyond just the clock?
Right, let's unpack the basics first. Sleep isn't a single uniform state. It cycles through distinct stages: light sleep, deep slow wave sleep, and REM. The National Sleep Foundation describes this as architecture. And if that architecture gets disrupted, the hours don't save you.
Architecture. I love that framing, actually. Because a building with the right square footage but no structural support is still falling down.
Exactly, and here's what matters about those stages specifically. Slow wave deep sleep is when physical restoration happens, tissue repair, immune function, growth hormone release. REM is when memory consolidation and emotional processing occur. You need both in the right proportions.
So when I wake up at 3 a.m., which, as I've mentioned before, sometimes happens after wine, I'm not just losing time. I'm losing architecture.
You're interrupting cycles, yes, and the body tends to front-load deep sleep early in the night and REM later. So if you're waking in the second half of your night, you're disproportionately losing REM sleep. Dr. Matthew Walker at UC Berkeley covers this extensively in his research.
Which explains why I sometimes feel emotionally raw on bad sleep days. That's not just tiredness, that's reduced REM.
The data supports that. Walker's research links REM deprivation specifically to emotional dysregulation. The amygdala, your threat detection center, becomes significantly more reactive without adequate REM.
So it's not that I'm being dramatic. I'm neurologically compromised. I'm using that with my kids from now on.
I'd advise against it, but technically accurate.
Okay, so architecture is the frame. What actually builds good architecture? Because I think this is where most people miss it.
Right. Here's what I've learned. Sleep quality is largely determined before you get into bed. The hour or two leading up to sleep are doing most of the work. Chronobiology researchers, including Dr. Sachin Panda at the Salk Institute, describe sleep pressure and circadian alignment as the two engines driving sleep quality.
Break those down for me.
Sleep pressure is adenosine buildup. Every hour you're awake, adenosine, a neurochemical, accumulates. The more it builds, the stronger the drive to sleep. That's what caffeine blocks, incidentally. It sits on the adenosine receptor without clearing the chemical itself.
Which is why you can feel the caffeine crash so hard when it wears off. The adenosine was waiting the whole time.
Precisely, and circadian alignment is about timing your sleep to match your biological clock, driven largely by light exposure, temperature, and meal timing.
Y'all, this is where morning light comes back into the picture, because I have talked about my 5 minutes outside before coffee habit on this show before, and now I understand it even more. Morning light is literally setting the timer on when your brain will produce melatonin that evening.
That's accurate. Light exposure suppresses melatonin and anchors your circadian phase. The earlier and brighter the light signal in the morning, the more precisely timed your evening wind down becomes. Dr. Andrew Huberman at Stanford has communicated this clearly for general audiences.
And I genuinely noticed, that on days I skip the outside step, my evenings feel more restless. I couldn't have explained why before. Now I can.
It's a coherent system, which also means one disruption ripples forward. Bright light in the evening, late meals, irregular wake times, they all push the circadian clock out of alignment and degrade architecture.
Okay, I want to stay on temperature for a second because this one surprised me. I mentioned before that my bedroom is set to about 68 degrees and I kind of landed on that by accident. But there's actual science behind it?
There really is. Core body temperature needs to drop by approximately 1 to 1.5 degrees Celsius to initiate and maintain sleep. Research published in the journal Sleep Medicine Reviews confirms that cooler ambient temperatures, roughly 65 to 68 Fahrenheit, facilitate that drop. Your 68 degrees is inadvertently rather good.
Accidentally doing the right thing is kind of my brand.
It is consistent.
Here's the thing, though. And this is where I want to push back a little, because I do most of these things. The morning light, the cool room, the 10-minute wind down before bed I've talked about. And I still have nights where my sleep feels broken and shallow. So what gives?
Now, that's a fair challenge, and I think it's where the research gets more nuanced. Sleep quality isn't perfectly controllable. Stress load, hormonal fluctuations, life stage, These create variability that good habits can reduce, but not eliminate. The science here is probabilistic, not deterministic.
So I'm not doing it wrong. I'm just human.
Broadly, yes. And this matters for our listeners especially, because the sandwich generation, people juggling aging parents and kids simultaneously, their nervous systems are often running at a baseline that makes sleep quality harder to sustain regardless of environment.
That's real. When my brain is carrying a full agenda into the pillow, no amount of cool temperature fixes it.
Which is where the pre-sleep wind-down period becomes most important. The research on cognitive arousal and sleep onset latency, how long it takes to fall asleep, shows that the brain needs a genuine deactivation window, not just lying down, actually downshifting.
And my 10-minute quiet window is doing that. Signaling, processing is closed for the night.
The framing matters psychologically. Research from the Harvard Division of Sleep Medicine suggests that treating pre-sleep routines as non-negotiable rather than optional when you happen to have time significantly improves adherence and outcome.
Which is exactly how I described it. Same commitment level as school pickup. Not heroic, just scheduled.
Right. And speaking of things worth committing to, if this episode is landing for you, please do like and subscribe. It genuinely helps us reach more people who want evidence-based wellness without the noise.
We appreciate every single one of you who does that. It matters more than you know.
Now, one more layer I think we'd be remiss to skip. Sleep quality and cardiovascular health. Because for our pre-retiree and older listeners especially, this connection is significant.
I was actually just starting to think about this in relation to my mom. She always says she sleeps fine, but I don't think she understands that fine is relative.
Research from the American Heart Association has increasingly linked poor sleep architecture, specifically disrupted slow-wave sleep, to elevated blood pressure, inflammation markers, and cardiovascular risk. It's not a minor correlation.
So when we're talking about sleep quality with aging parents, and I know a lot of our listeners are in that conversation, it's not just comfort, it's a genuine health variable.
And worth raising with their physicians. We're not in diagnostic territory here, but the conversation is worth having.
I've talked to my mom about her heart health, her diet. I've not had the sleep architecture conversation yet. That's happening.
The other piece I want to name for older listeners specifically is that sleep architecture changes with age. Slow-wave sleep naturally decreases after 50. That's documented in research from the National Institute on Aging. It's not failure, it's biology. But it does mean that protecting what remains becomes more important, not less.
So the habits matter more as we age, not less, because you have less margin.
Precisely stated.
Okay, y'all, if I had to hand you one thing to walk out of this episode with, it's this. Hours are the floor, not the ceiling. Start treating the hour before bed like it's part of your sleep, not separate from it. Light down, temperature cool, screens put away, 10 minutes of genuine quiet. That's the architecture work.
And I'd add, don't troubleshoot sleep in isolation. Morning light, meal timing, stress load, they're all upstream variables. Fix the inputs and the output tends to improve. It's a system.
Warm room, bright screens, full brain? You are working against your own biology, and now you know why.
On that note, sleep well. Statistically, some of you will.
This show is part of the VoxCrea.AI system. If you want a show like this for your organization without building it yourself,
go to VoxCrea.AI and request a sample episode.